Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang, bang, got my hand on the...
This video of 8-year-old Lyla Cassel was recorded by her mother, Chelsea Duperon. Chelsea has just been arrested. It's a breaking case for allegedly beating her beautiful little daughter to the point that her face was unrecognizable because she thought she was possessed. Hello, my name is Holly. Welcome to the Murder She Said. Come join me here weekly by hitting that subscribe button. I'm here to tell you true crime right from my she shed, breaking cases as well as rarely discussed true crime. Lyla Cassel was born to parents Chelsea Duperon and Josh Cassel. Chelsea and Josh at some point ended their relationship, and Chelsea was given custody of Lyla, or I've also heard Josh just give up custody of Lyla. Either way, I'm not sure what is fully accurate on that, but I know Chelsea had Lyla. Chelsea and Lyla lived in Wayne, Michigan, and she started dating and living with a man named Dan Probst. Chelsea's Facebook is filled with Lyla's pictures. In every picture, Lyla looks well dressed and taken care of. But as in most cases of lives on Facebook, things are not always what they seem. A lot of times people only show the good side of life on Facebook, not their monster side. But you're going to see that this little girl's life was not what it seemed to be on Facebook. Police were called to a home in the 35200 block of Phyllis Street on March 16th for reports that a child was not breathing. When they arrived, they found 8-year-old Lyla deceased in a bedroom with multiple injuries to her head and neck. Lyla was only wearing a diaper with no clothes on her little body. Chelsea had attempted to cover her deceased daughter's bruises with makeup. What kind of sick mother does it take that you murder your little daughter and then you try to cover it all the things you did to her with makeup? How disturbing is that? Can you imagine holding your deceased daughter and all you're worried about is if you can cover the damage with makeup? It had been 3 days since Lyla was beaten before police were even called. Chelsea first claimed that her daughter had fallen down the stairs, causing those injuries. At one point during the police interview, officers observed Chelsea with swelling to her right hand. When they asked about the injuries, she told them that she believed her daughter had been possessed by spirits. She said, "I swear to God, this is not me," she said. "This sounds crazy, but there's bad spirits," she told police during this interview. Chelsea also said that a woman had magically showed up in her basement and beat Lyla. I'm not sure if she is insinuating a ghost beat her daughter, but I am thinking that is what she means. Her boyfriend Dan was also interviewed by police, and he told the officers that he had come home from work on March 13th and claimed Chelsea was standing outside the home. When he looked inside, he saw Lyla lying on the kitchen floor, all swelled up. Chelsea told Dan that she believed her daughter was possessed. Instead of calling 911, he carried Lyla to her bed, knowing what kind of shape she was in. Dan told police since the victim wasn't his kid, he didn't know what he could do, so he did nothing. Absolutely nothing. He carried this little girl to her deathbed, basically. So instead of taking Lyla to the hospital, Chelsea decided to make a beer run to the store and also get some diapers since this beautiful little girl had been beaten so much that she couldn't get up, go to the bathroom. So she got Vaseline, diapers, beer, and I'm not exactly sure what the Vaseline was for, and I'm scared to ask. Anyway, she come back with beer and just began to drink, I guess, while her daughter was laying there dying. For 3 days, her daughter laid there dying in only a diaper. From the beatings, Lyla's brain had swelled so much that it led to the cause of her death. The prosecuting attorney said the sheer brutality that innocent 8-year-old little Lyla suffered on March 13th of 2024 is really like nothing I've ever seen in my 5 years of handling CA cases. Neighbors of Dan's and Chelsea reported they could always hear fighting at that house, and they believed Dan was abusive to Chelsea and Lyla. A woman whose children was friends with Lyla has said on Facebook that the couple used to live near her and Lyla, and Lyla would get left at her home for days at a time. She said Lyla was the sweetest little girl, so she didn't mind. This woman also said that allegedly Dan was abusive to Chelsea and Lyla, and he had broke into her home several times. She also stated that allegedly one time when Dan picked Chelsea up from her home, he grabbed Lyla by her hair and pulled her outside, where he began beating Lyla right in her front yard. As of now, Dan has not had any charges brought against him, although I believe it is just a matter of time before he faces consequences of leaving Lyla in that house to die. It says he didn't have nothing to do with the beatings, although there's a history of abuse. He says he was not there, that she did all the beatings. Chelsea is being charged with 1 count of felony murder and 1 count of first-degree CA in the slaying of her little daughter. While Chelsea was being arraigned, you could see her smirking, even letting out a giggle at one point in the proceedings, like she didn't have a care in the world, like she hadn't just murdered her little girl. Although it has not been said, I know this little girl was beat with more than this woman's hands. A woman's hand does not do the amount of damage that was done to that little girl's body. There has not been a lot of info on this case so far, so I'll update you when I can. But I just really believe we're going to find out. No telling what else was used to beat this little girl with. I mean, her face was unrecognizable. It was so messed up from the beatings. And was she the only person involved in the beatings? Just leave it at that. Also, do you believe she really believed Lyla was possessed, or she just used that as an excuse to officers? Speaking of a case that a mom believes a child is possessed, I wanted to update you on a case that I have done a video on in the past. It was the little boy found by a mushroom hunter in the woods inside of a Las Vegas suitcase in Indiana. If you're familiar with this case, you know they finally found out who the little boy was in 2022. The child was identified as 5-year-old Cairo Jordan from Georgia. He was never reported to authorities as a missing child. Police used technology to pull fingerprints from the trash bags the little boy's body was found inside that suitcase. His mother, Dijon Anderson, believed that her son Cairo was possessed, and she needed to do an exorcism on her son to remove a very powerful demonic force. She also allegedly made a post about telling her story in a book or podcast about living with a demonic child. Well, her friend Dawn Coleman, who was arrested in 2022 for helping Anderson cover up the murder of her child, stated at the time she walked in on Anderson sitting on top of her son, and she told Coleman, "It is done." Then this is when Coleman helped Anderson dispose of Cairo's body. This is a story I often think about, and so I wanted justice for this little boy, since his mother has eluded arrest and was still free up until last week. They finally caught her after 2 years of chasing this woman. She was finally found, thank God. This is why this case bothered me so bad, because this little boy wasn't getting justice with his mom still roaming out there free. A concerned citizen gave police a tip on where to find Anderson. She was captured in Arcadia, California. Her friend Coleman had already pled guilty to conspiracy to commit murder and was sentenced to 30 years in prison in November of 2023 with 5 years suspended to probation. Now finally, the woman who actually murdered little Cairo has been found, and some justice will finally be done for this little boy. Sadly, in both of these cases, the mother believed her child was possessed. And Lyla's case reminded me so much of Cairo's case that it just made me look for an update on his case. And I was so happy to learn his mother had finally been caught. If you want more details on Cairo's case, I will leave a link to that case below in the comments. May you rest in peace finally, Cairo. Maybe your mother will get what she deserves in prison. And I hope Lyla gets the justice she deserves in her case as well. Both beautiful children that so deserved a loving home and instead was given monsters for mothers. A mother that abused their child is the most disturbing cases to me, because it just boggles my mind as a mother that anyone could do anything to a little human that you carried in your stomach for 9 months. That is a part of you. I don't understand it. I'm a mother to 2 boys that are grown now, And I can't imagine ever wanting to harm them. I mean, this child is dependent on its mother from the time they leave their womb. How could you not feel the need to take care of it and defend it with your life? How could you not love this little child that has your blood running through its veins? It would take a true monster to feel differently. And you can't make me change my mind, because I really believe that a mother that does this is some of the most evil of evil in this world. Anyway, I hope and pray that both of these little children can now rest in peace. And on that note, I will let you guys go. As usual, I love you, and I hope you will join me and Simon again at the Murder She Shed. We'd love to have you. We're here for you, aren't we, Simon? Now, we're going to go do something fun. Are you ready? Are you ready? I mean, as you can see, I wouldn't even harm my little dog, much less my babies. I don't understand evil. Bye, I love y'all.
Devil in a red dress. Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess.